Admiral Kevthor stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched Earth grow larger on the viewing screen. Behind him, 10,000 warships of the Za'anthi Imperial fleet waited in perfect formation. The blue and green planet looked peaceful and undefended. It would be an easy victory. "Status report," Kevthor ordered. His second officer checked the scanner readings. "The humans have detected us, Admiral. They are sending communication requests. Their defensive stations are powering up weapons." Kevthor laughed. The sound echoed across the bridge. His crew joined in the laughter. Human weapons were primitive. Chemical rockets, nuclear warheads, technology that the Za'anthi Empire had abandoned 3,000 years ago. "Ignore their communications," Kevthor said. "The Emperor has declared them non-sentient. They are vermin living on valuable real estate. We will cleanse this system and claim it for the Empire." The officer nodded and returned to his station. Kevthor felt satisfaction warm his chest. This would be his greatest victory. The Emperor would reward him with land and titles. His family would rise in status, all because he had conquered a primitive species that barely knew how to leave their own planet. On one of Earth's orbital defense stations, Commander Park Ji-woo watched the alien fleet approach. His hands moved quickly across the control panel. He was recording everything, every ship position, every energy reading, every weapon signature. The data was uploading to a secure location. "Sir, they are not responding to our hails," his communications officer said. Her voice shook with fear. Park looked at the young woman. She was only 23 years old, fresh from the academy. She had dreams of exploring the stars and meeting alien species. Now those dreams were turning into a nightmare. "Keep broadcasting on all frequencies," Park said calmly. "Send everything we know about human culture, our art, our music, our history. Tell them who we are." "Will it help?" she asked. Park smiled sadly. "No, but others need to hear it." The communications officer looked confused but followed orders. She began transmitting recordings of human orchestras, images of Earth's greatest paintings, poetry from every culture. The message went out into space in all directions. "They are charging weapons," the tactical officer reported. Park took a deep breath. He had volunteered for this station. Everyone who lived on Earth in these final days had volunteered. They all knew the risks. They had all accepted their role in the plan. He opened a special channel and began his final message. "This is Commander Park Ji-woo of Earth Defense Station 7. To anyone listening across the stars, know that we existed. We loved. We created beauty. We tried to be kind." He paused and looked at his crew. They were all so young, so brave. "And to my family out there, remember what Earth taught us. Remember why we scattered. Remember that hate destroys but love builds." He entered a final code into his console. The code that would activate the census protocol. The code that would wake up humanity's true strength. "You should have asked where the rest of us were," Park said quietly. The first energy beams struck Earth's atmosphere. Cities vanished in white fire. Oceans boiled into steam. Mountains melted into glass. 8 billion people died in 4 minutes. The planet that had given birth to humanity became a burning cinder floating in space. Admiral Kevthor watched the destruction with satisfaction. Mark this victory in the fleet records. Earth conquered. Human species eliminated. System claimed for the Empire. His crew cheered. They began celebrations. Some opened bottles of Za'anthi wine they had saved for this moment. Music played across the fleet's communication channels. It was a good day for the Empire. "Admiral," a junior officer called out nervously, "I am detecting unusual energy readings at the edge of the solar system." "Probably debris from the planet," Kevthor said dismissively. "Nothing to worry about." "No, sir. These readings are different. They are organized, patterned. Like communication signals." Kevthor walked to the officer's station and looked at the data. His satisfaction began to fade. The readings were indeed organized. They were responses. Thousands of responses, hundreds of thousands of responses, all coming from different directions in space. "What am I looking at?" Kevthor demanded. The officer's hands shook as he worked. "Sir, we are receiving responses to Earth's final transmission. The computer is tracking the sources." He paused. His face turned pale. "Sir, the responses are coming from 40,000 different star systems." Silence fell across the bridge. The celebration stopped. The music cut off. Every officer stared at their screens in disbelief. "That is impossible," Kevthor said. "There were only 8 billion humans on Earth." "We confirmed the population counts. The responses are definitely human in origin, sir. Same language patterns, same encryption codes, same cultural markers." The officer looked up at the Admiral. "Sir, I think there are more humans out there. A lot more." Kevthor felt cold fear replace his earlier satisfaction. He had assumed Earth was humanity's only world. Every intelligence report had said the humans were confined to their home system. They had not developed faster than light travel. They had no colonies. They were primitive and isolated. But if that was wrong, if the humans had somehow spread across the galaxy without anyone noticing, if the 8 billion people on Earth were just a fraction of their true numbers. "Get me the Emperor," Kevthor ordered. His voice no longer sounded confident. "Tell him we have a problem." The responses kept coming. 40,000 star systems, each one containing humans who had just learned that their home world had been destroyed, each one now aware that the Za'anthi Empire had committed genocide. In the ruins of Earth's orbit, Park Ji-woo's final transmission continued to broadcast. It carried his last words, his warning, his census activation code, the message that would unite humanity across the endless stars and teach the galaxy that humans had learned one crucial lesson from their violent history: never keep all your eggs in one basket. 200 years before the invasion, Dr. Lee Min-seo stood before the United Nations Assembly. She was nervous. Her hands gripped the podium too tightly, but her voice stayed steady as she presented the plan that would save humanity. "We have learned many lessons from our history," she said. "We have seen empires fall. We have watched civilizations collapse. We have survived wars, plagues, and disasters. But every time humanity nearly died, it was because we kept all our people in one place." The delegates listened. Some looked interested, others looked skeptical. The Secretary General nodded for her to continue. "I propose the Exodus Protocol," Dr. Lee said. "We will spread humanity across the stars, not to conquer, not to claim territory, but to survive. We will build colony ships and send them in all directions. We will establish new worlds, and we will make sure that nothing, no disaster, no war, no alien species can ever destroy all of humanity at once." "But we have just achieved world peace," one delegate argued. "Why should we leave Earth now?" Dr. Lee smiled sadly. "Because peace on Earth does not mean peace in the galaxy. We have detected radio signals from 40,000 alien civilizations. We know we are not alone. And we know from our own history what happens when a strong civilization meets a weak one. I do not want humanity to be the weak one that gets erased." The debate lasted 6 months, but eventually, the Exodus Protocol was approved. The colony ships began to launch, first hundreds, then thousands. Each ship carried 50,000 people in sleep pods. Each ship headed toward a different star system. Each ship carried the seeds of a new human world. Dr. Lee watched the first ship leave from the observation deck. Tears ran down her face. "Good luck," she whispered. "Build something beautiful." The Exodus took 2 centuries. Generation after generation of humans were born in space, lived their lives building colonies, and died under alien stars. They terraformed hostile planets. They built cities inside asteroids. They learned to survive in environments that would kill unprotected humans in seconds. The colonies stayed in contact with Earth through carefully designed relay systems, but they followed strict protocols. No faster-than-light communication that could be traced. No broadcasting their locations openly. Complete independence from Earth for defense and resources. Each colony had to survive on its own. Earth became a museum world, a cultural center, the birthplace of humanity that everyone wanted to visit but few wanted to live on permanently. Only 8 billion people chose to stay. They were volunteers, gardeners of memory, keepers of human history. They knew they might die if aliens ever discovered Earth. They accepted that risk. Governor Choi Yuna was in her office on the colony world of New Jeju when the message arrived. New Jeju was a beautiful planet, warmer than Earth, with purple oceans and red forests. Humans had lived there for 150 years. It felt like home. Her assistant burst through the door without knocking. "Governor, we have received an emergency transmission from Earth." Yuna's heart froze. Emergency transmissions from Earth meant only one thing: the census activation code, the code that would only be sent if Earth was destroyed. She played the message. Park Ji-woo's voice filled her office. His words were calm but firm. He described the alien fleet, the weapons they used, their tactical formations, their energy signatures, everything the colonies would need to identify and fight the Za'anthi Empire. Then came the final census activation code, the mathematical sequence that proved the message was real and not a test. "Earth is gone," Yuna whispered. Her assistant was crying. Many people in the government building were crying. Earth was their ancestral home, even if they had never visited it. Even if their great-grandparents had left 2 centuries ago, it was still the place where humanity was born. But there was no time for grief. Yuna opened the emergency channel and contacted the governors of the nearest 40 colony worlds. Their faces appeared on her screen. All of them had received the same message. All of them understood what it meant. "Earth has fallen," Yuna said. "The census protocol is now active. We need to mobilize." "How many of us are there?" asked Governor Park Soo-bin of New Seoul. Yuna checked the census data. The numbers were staggering. 40,000 colony worlds, 800 billion humans. Some colonies have 20 million people. Some have only 50,000. But together we are strong. "What do we do?" asked Governor Kim Tae-young of New Incheon. "The nearest colonies will respond first," Yuna said. "We cannot let the Za'anthi think humans are extinct. We need to show them that Earth was just the beginning, that we are everywhere, that we survive." The governors agreed. Within hours, emergency meetings were held on every human colony. Within days, ships began to mobilize. The colonies nearest to Earth, within 200 light-years, prepared their fleets. These were not military ships. Humans had not built warships during the Exodus. They had built colony ships, construction vessels, mining platforms, scientific research stations, ships designed to terraform planets and move asteroids, ships built to create, not to destroy. But now those tools would have to serve a different purpose. On New Jeju, Yuna addressed her people in the central square. Millions gathered to hear her speak. Millions more watched from their homes across the planet. "Our homeworld is gone," she said. 8 billion of our brothers and sisters have died. The Za'anthi Empire thought they could erase humanity with one attack. They were wrong. We are not gone. We are everywhere. We are 40,000 worlds strong. And we will show them that humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive genocide. But humans also do not become monsters. She paused and looked at the crowd. We will respond. But we will not become like them. We will teach them that destroying humanity was the worst mistake they ever made. Not because we will destroy them in revenge, but because we will show them what humanity really is. We survive. We adapt. We build. And we never, ever give up. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ships began to launch from New Jeju's orbital platforms. Across 200 colony worlds, the same scene repeated. Humanity was moving. The scattered children of Earth were gathering, and the Xanthi Empire was about to learn that they had not destroyed humanity. They had only made it angry. Admiral Kevthor watched his fleet harvest the resources of the Sol system. Giant mining ships stripped asteroids for minerals. Collector vessels gathered water from the outer planets. The burnt remains of Earth were being analyzed for valuable elements. Everything would be sent back to the Xanthi Empire. On the homeworld, Emperor Vorkash prepared for a victory parade. Banners were hung across the capital city. Citizens gathered in the streets to celebrate. The military band practiced their triumph songs. The conquest of Earth would be remembered for generations. Kevthor tried to feel proud, but the reports from the edge of the system troubled him. 40,000 human colony worlds. The number seemed impossible. How had they spread so far without anyone noticing? Perhaps the readings were wrong, his second officer suggested. Perhaps it was just echoes or reflections. Perhaps, Kevthor said. But he did not believe it. 3 weeks later, the sensors detected new ships entering the Sol system. Kevthor immediately ordered battle stations. His fleet moved into defensive formation. The viewing screen showed the approaching vessels. There were 50,000 of them. Captain Song Hye-jin stood on the bridge of her ship, the Remembrance. Around her, 49,999 other human vessels prepared for battle. They had come from 200 different colony worlds, all within 200 light-years of Earth. "Status report," Hye-jin ordered. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," her tactical officer said. "We have established communication links with the entire fleet. All captains are waiting for your command." Hye-jin looked at the Xanthi fleet on her screen. 10,000 warships, each one more advanced than anything humanity had built. Better weapons, stronger shields, faster engines. In a straight fight, the humans would lose badly, but this was not going to be a straight fight. "Open a channel to all ships," Hye-jin said. "I want to address the fleet." Her face appeared on screens across 50,000 vessels. Millions of crew members stopped their work to listen. These were not trained soldiers. They were colonists, engineers, scientists, teachers, miners, people who had never expected to fight a war. But Earth's death had changed everything. "I know you are afraid," Hye-jin said. "I am afraid too. We are not warriors. We left Earth to build new worlds, not to destroy old ones. We wanted peace. We wanted to create. But the Xanthi have shown us that the galaxy will not let us live peacefully." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "They came to our homeworld. They ignored our attempts at communication. They killed 8 billion people who only wanted to welcome them as friends. They murdered our brothers and sisters, our parents and grandparents, the keepers of our history and culture." Anger filled her voice. "They wanted to see how dangerous humans could be. They thought we were weak because we chose to spread out instead of building armies. They thought we were primitive because we used our technology to create instead of to destroy. They were wrong." Hye-jin straightened her uniform. "Today we show them what humans really are. We are builders. We are survivors. We are the species that scattered across 40,000 worlds in 200 years. We are the children of Earth, and we do not forget our home." Across the fleet, crew members cheered. They were ready. Hye-jin opened a communication channel to the Xanthi flagship. Admiral Kevthor's face appeared on her screen. He looked surprised to see a human alive and commanding a fleet. "I am Captain Song Hye-jin of the human colony worlds. You destroyed our homeworld. You committed genocide against 8 billion peaceful people. We are here to discuss terms." Kevthor laughed. "You dare speak of terms? We have 10,000 warships. Our weapons can destroy your primitive vessels with ease. Surrender now, and I might let some of you live as slaves." "I see," Hyejin said calmly. "You choose violence. That is unfortunate." She cut the communication and turned to her crew. "All ships, begin Formation 7. The 50,000 human ships began to move. They did not charge forward like an attacking fleet. They spread out in a wide pattern, surrounding the Xanthe vessels from all directions. They maintained their distance, staying just outside weapon range. "What are they doing?" Kevthor demanded. "Why do they not attack?" "Perhaps they are afraid," his second officer said. "Then why come at all?" Kevthor felt uneasy. Something was wrong. The humans were acting too calm, too organized, like they had a plan. "All ships, open fire," Kevthor ordered. The Xanthe warships unleashed devastating energy weapons. Beams of plasma tore through space. Missiles accelerated to incredible speeds. The weapon systems were designed to destroy enemy fleets in minutes. The human ships began to die. Their shields were weak. Their hulls were not built for combat. One by one, thousands of human vessels exploded into debris. The Xanthe crew cheered as they watched the destruction. 10,000 human ships destroyed in the first hour, then 15,000, then 20,000. But the surviving human ships kept moving forward. They did not retreat. They did not return fire. They just kept getting closer. "Why are they not shooting back?" Kevthor asked. "They must have some weapons." Then his sensors detected something strange. Each destroyed human ship had released something before dying. Millions of small objects. Too small to be escape pods. Too many to be debris. "What am I looking at?" Kevthor demanded. His science officer analyzed the data. His face turned pale. "Sir, they are self-replicating mining drones. The kind humans use to harvest asteroids. They are designed to break down rock and metal at the molecular level." "So what?" "They are mining drones, not weapons." "Sir," the science officer said quietly, "to a mining drone, what is the difference between an asteroid and a spaceship?" Kevthor understood. The human ships had not been trying to fight. They had been trying to get close enough to release their cargo, and now millions of tiny drones were swarming toward the Xanthe fleet. "Destroy them!" Kevthor screamed. "Kill those drones!" But the weapons were useless. Energy beams designed to destroy large ships could not target millions of tiny objects. Missiles exploded uselessly in space. The drones were too small, too many, too fast. The first drone reached a Xanthe warship, then 10 drones, then 1,000, then 1,000,000. They began to work, doing what they were designed to do, taking apart metal and composite materials, breaking down hull plating, stripping away armor, disassembling the ship piece by piece. Kevthor watched in horror as his proud fleet was eaten alive by construction equipment. Admiral Kevthor tried everything. His ships fired missiles at their own hulls to destroy the drones. It did not work. The drones were too small and moved too fast. His crew tried using emergency repair systems to seal the breaches. But the drones ate through the repair materials just as quickly. Within 3 hours, half of the Xanthe fleet was disabled. Ships drifted helplessly in space, their engines torn apart, their weapon systems dismantled, their life support failing. The mighty Imperial fleet was being destroyed by mining equipment. "Fall back," Kevthor ordered. "All ships retreat to the outer system." But it was too late. The drones had already attached themselves to every vessel. Running away would not help. The Xanthe were trapped inside their own ships, watching them fall apart around them. Captain Song Hyejin watched the battle from the remembrance. She felt no joy in the victory. 30,000 human ships had died to deliver the drones. 30,000 ships full of volunteers who knew they would not survive. They had sacrificed themselves to get close enough. "Captain, the Xanthe flagship is attempting to communicate," her communications officer reported. "Accept the call," Hyejin said. Admiral Kevthor appeared on her screen. He looked broken, defeated. Behind him, Hyejin could see his bridge crew working desperately to stop the drones. It was not working. "What do you want?" Kevthor asked. His voice was hollow. "I want you to understand something," Hyejin said. "We did not come here to destroy you. We came to teach you." "Teach me what? How to murder millions of people?" Hyejin's eyes were sad. "No, to teach you that humans value all life, even yours." She sent a command to the remaining human ships. They moved toward the disabled Za'anthi vessels. Kevthor watched in confusion as human ships docked with his warships. Were they coming to execute his crew? Then he saw what was really happening. Human engineers boarded the Za'anthi ships carrying repair equipment and medical supplies. They deactivated the drones. They patched the hull breaches. They restored life support systems. They brought food and water for the stranded Za'anthi crew. On one disabled warship, a Za'anthi soldier raised his weapon at the boarding humans. He was terrified and angry. His ship was dying around him. These humans had just destroyed his fleet. The human engineer raised her hands peacefully. "We are here to help," she said in carefully practiced Za'anthi language. "You need medical attention. Your arm is injured." The soldier looked at his arm. It was bleeding from a hull breach injury. He felt dizzy from blood loss. The human approached slowly, pulled out a medical kit, and began treating his wound. "Why?" the soldier asked. "Why help me? I was trying to kill you." The engineer smiled sadly. "Because that is what humans do. We help, we heal, we build. Earth taught us that all life is precious, even the life of someone who wants us dead." This scene repeated across the Za'anthi fleet. Human medical teams treated injured aliens. Human engineers repaired critical systems. Human supply officers distributed food and water. The Za'anthi crew, expecting execution, instead received mercy. Admiral Kevthor sat in his command chair and watched humans save his people. He felt shame burn in his chest. He had murdered 8 billion humans. They had every right to kill him and his entire fleet. But instead, they were helping. Captain Song Hyejin beamed aboard the Za'anthi flagship with a security team. But she wore no weapons. She walked onto the bridge and approached Kevthor. "Your fleet is disabled," she said. "Your emperor will not send help because he is too far away. You are at our mercy. Do you understand?" Kevthor nodded. He could not meet her eyes. "Good," Hyejin continued. "Now I want you to understand something else. This was only the first response. 200 colony worlds sent this fleet. But there are 40,000 human colonies. If we wanted to destroy your empire, we could send 2 billion warships. Do you understand?" Kevthor's eyes widened. 2 billion warships. The number was impossible to fight against. The entire Za'anthi Empire only had 50 million warships total. They would be outnumbered 40-1. Hyejin pulled up a holographic display. It showed the positions of human colonies across the galaxy. They were everywhere, in every direction, surrounding Za'anthi space on all sides. The Empire had been living next to humanity for 2 centuries and never knew it. "We could have revealed ourselves years ago," Hyejin said. "We could have demanded territory. We could have threatened you. We could have done what you did to us. But we chose peace. We chose to quietly build our worlds and live our lives. We did not want war." She leaned close to Kevthor. "But you came to Earth. You ignored our communications. You killed 8 billion people who only wanted to be friends. You forced us to show you what humans can do when we are angry." "What happens now?" Kevthor asked quietly. Hyejin straightened. "Now you have 3 choices. First choice, negotiate peace. Tell your emperor that humanity is not extinct. Tell him we outnumber the empire and could destroy it if we wanted. Tell him we are offering peace instead. Second choice, flee. We will let you go. Take your surviving ships and leave. Never come back to human space. Third choice, refuse. Try to fight. Call for reinforcements. See what happens when the rest of the 40,000 colonies arrive. She paused. Choose wisely, Admiral. Your people's future depends on it. Kevthor looked around his bridge. His crew were being treated kindly by human doctors. His ship was being repaired by human engineers. These people could have killed everyone but chose mercy instead. What kind of species responds to genocide with healing? I choose negotiation, Kevthor said. I will speak to the Emperor. I will tell him what I have learned. That humans are stronger than we knew. That they are more merciful than we deserve. That war with humanity would destroy the Empire. Hyojin nodded. Thank you for making the wise choice. She turned to leave, but stopped. One more thing, Admiral. The people who stayed on Earth knew they might die. They volunteered to be gardeners of memory, keepers of history. They accepted the risk because they believed the galaxy could be better. Do not let their deaths be meaningless. Learn from this. Teach your people. Help us build a galaxy where no one has to die because they look different or think differently. Kevthor watched her leave. For the first time in his military career, he felt hope instead of pride. 1 year later, the Galactic Council gathered on a neutral station orbiting a dead star. Representatives from 5,000 species filled the massive chamber. This was the largest assembly in galactic history. Everyone wanted to witness what would happen next. The Za'anthi Empire sent a new emperor. Korvan was Admiral Kevthor's younger sister. She was a reformer who had opposed the war from the beginning. The old emperor, Vorkosh, had died mysteriously 3 months after the failed Earth invasion. Most suspected poison. No one investigated too carefully. Humanity sent Ambassador Kim Soo-jin. She was a diplomat from New Busan Colony. She had spent her entire life studying alien cultures and working toward peace. She had never expected her first major assignment would be negotiating after genocide. The chamber fell silent as Korvan approached the center platform. She wore simple robes instead of military armor. Her head was bowed in shame. I stand before you as the leader of a disgraced empire, Korvan said. Her voice carried through translation devices to every species present. My predecessor committed an unforgivable crime. He ordered the destruction of Earth and the murder of 8 billion humans. He did this without provocation, without warning, without mercy. She lifted her head and looked directly at Ambassador Kim. I cannot undo what was done. I cannot bring back the dead. But I can promise that the Za'anthi Empire will never again attack a peaceful species. I can promise we will spend generations trying to earn forgiveness we do not deserve. Ambassador Kim stood and walked to the platform. The two leaders faced each other. The entire galaxy watched to see what would happen. The Za'anthi Empire could have been destroyed, Kim said. After Earth fell, 40,000 human colonies mobilized. We could have sent billions of warships to your homeworld. We could have done to you what you did to us. Many humans wanted that revenge. She paused. But revenge would not bring back Earth. Revenge would not honor the memories of those who died. The people who stayed on Earth chose to be gardeners of memory. They believed in a better galaxy. If we destroyed the Za'anthi Empire, we would prove them wrong. Kim extended her hand in the human gesture of peace. Instead, we choose to help you become better. We choose to teach you. We choose to build together instead of destroying each other. Korvan stared at the offered hand. Tears ran down her face. She took Kim's hand, and the chamber erupted in cheers from thousands of alien species. It was a moment of hope after so much tragedy. The negotiations lasted 6 months. The result was the Exodus Accord, a treaty that would change galactic civilization forever. The accord had 3 main points. First, no species should ever depend on a single world. Humanity agreed to share their colony technology freely with any species that wanted it. They would teach terraforming techniques. They would help other species spread across the stars. This way, No disaster or war could ever extinct an entire civilization. Second, genocide would be treated as a crime against the entire galaxy. Any species that attempted to destroy another would face united opposition from all council members. The Za'anthi Empire accepted this rule and offered to help enforce it. Third, humans and Za'anthi would work together to build a memorial in the Sol system. It would honor all 8 billion humans who died on Earth and serve as a reminder of what happens when fear and hate replace understanding and peace. The memorial took 2 years to complete. It was a massive station built where Earth once orbited. Inside were genetic libraries containing DNA samples from every Earth species, cultural archives with millions of books, songs, paintings, and histories. A great hall with 8 billion names inscribed on crystal walls. At the center of the memorial station was a recording. Commander Park Ji-woo's final transmission played on continuous loop. His calm voice spoke to everyone who visited. This is Commander Park Ji-woo of Earth Defense Station 7. To anyone listening across the stars, know that we existed. We loved. We created beauty. We tried to be kind. Remember, we chose kindness, even at the end. Remember that hate destroys, but love builds. Remember that we scattered across the stars, not to conquer, but to survive. Remember Earth. The memorial station was maintained by a joint crew of humans and Za'anthi. Many of the Za'anthi volunteers were soldiers from Admiral Kevthor's fleet. They had seen human mercy firsthand and wanted to serve the memory of those they had killed. One day, a young Za'anthi named Torvan was cleaning the memorial hall when a human child approached. The child was maybe 7 years old, visiting with her school class from New Sol Colony. "Did you know anyone who lived on Earth?" the child asked. Torvan knelt down to the child's level. "No, but I was a soldier in the fleet that destroyed it. I helped kill your people." The child looked thoughtful. "My teacher says Earth died so the galaxy could learn. She says the people there knew they might die but stayed anyway because they believed in something bigger." "What did they believe in?" Torvan asked. "That everyone could be better, that even bad people could choose to be good, that giving up on someone means you never let them grow." Torvan felt tears forming. "Your people are very wise." The child smiled. "My mom says humans are not special. We just remember our mistakes better than most species. We almost destroyed ourselves lots of times on Earth. Wars and pollution and hate. But we learned. Now we help others learn too." 3,000 species began exodus programs over the next decade. Civilizations that had lived on single worlds for millennia started spreading to nearby star systems. The galaxy became more connected but also more resilient. If disaster struck one world, the species would survive. The Za'anthi Empire transformed under Korvan's rule. The military was reduced. Resources went to education and cultural exchange instead. Za'anthi diplomats traveled to human colonies to learn. Za'anthi students studied at human universities. Slowly, carefully, trust was rebuilt. Captain Song Hyejin retired from colonial defense forces. She moved back to New Jeju and opened a school. The Interspecies Diplomacy Academy trained students from 100 different species. She taught them that strength comes not from weapons, but from understanding, that the greatest victory is the one where no one has to die. Admiral Kevthor, now Ambassador Kevthor, spent his remaining years visiting Za'anthi schools. He told children about his greatest defeat and greatest lesson, that power without wisdom leads to ruin, that mercy is not weakness, but the hardest form of strength, that humans taught him what true civilization means. Governor Choi Yuna led the Exodus Committee that helped species begin their colony programs. She worked 18-hour days coordinating resources, sharing technology, and solving the countless problems that came with spreading civilizations across the stars. It was exhausting work, but every time a new species successfully established their first colony world, she remembered Earth and knew the work was worth it. At the Earth Memorial Station, a young human boy and a young Za'anthi girl played together in the garden section. The garden contained plants from thousands of worlds, all growing together in harmony. The children did not know about the war. They were too young to remember. The boy picked a flower and handed it to the girl. "This one is from Earth," he said. "My teacher says it is called a rose." The girl smelled the flower and smiled. "It is beautiful. Did many pretty things grow on Earth?" "My grandmother says Earth was the most beautiful place ever. She says one day we might terraform Mars and make it like Earth was. Then everyone can see what we lost." From a viewing platform above, Ambassador Kim watched the children play. Beside her stood Emperor Korvan, visiting the memorial for the annual remembrance ceremony. "Do you think we will succeed?" Korvan asked. "Creating a galaxy where this never happens again?" Kim smiled. "Look at those children. They do not see enemies. They see friends. That is how we succeed. One generation at a time. One choice at a time. One act of kindness at a time." Commander Park Ji-woo's voice echoed through the station speakers, as it did every hour. "Remember, we chose kindness, even at the end." The children laughed as they played. The memorial station orbited peacefully where Earth once lived. And across 40,000 human worlds and 5,000 alien civilizations, people worked together to build the galaxy Earth had dreamed of. Humanity had scattered across the endless stars. They had been tested by tragedy. They had responded with mercy. And in doing so, they had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. Survival is not about being the strongest. It is about being wise enough to choose creation over destruction, kind enough to help even your enemies, and brave enough to keep trying, even when the cost is high. That was what humans did best. They survived. They adapted. They built. They hoped. And they never, ever gave up.